Yeah, play this video again. You can't. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plus 3, the least divisive podcast on YouTube. I'm Matt Rosman, joined by John Epley and the News Singal. Starting off, Max Park. Well, I know we might. I feel like we're asking questions like this, as new records come in. And I mean, I know there's, Nam and Timon like over this past weekend. It's just, I feel like every time now, we kind of need to ask ourselves, the Max Park benchmark. And John, I want to start with you. Given everything that's been going on within big cubes, is Max still going to be the king of this stuff by the end of the year?
Year just started, so I mean it's a long ways away, especially in cubing years, right? But I think he'll hold on for this year. But Worlds 2027, it's very likely going to be not anyone's game, but I don't think it's going to be a surefire thing like it has been in past years. Seunghook Nam is a lucky mean away. I mean, to be quite honest, he very likely could have gotten world record mean this weekend when he got this single. He had a one solve worse than the rest in there that kept him away from this, but I think he's less than 2 seconds away from world record mean as it is. So realistically, it could happen sooner. You also got Timon, you got Dokwon, you got Ziyu Wu, which don't count him out. I mean, he came out of, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere because I'm sure there's people that watch out more than me, but Mega Mink, 7x7, 6x6. There's going to be a lot of names that pop up, and it's going to be kind of a culture shock because Max Park has been Max Park forever. Max Park versus the world, right? 2 through 7, he beat the world's best combined back in, man, I forget the name of that competition. I think it was 2017. So end of an era coming soon. How soon? Who knows? Max Park is known to maybe get revenge when people come after him, so it could last longer.
Yeah, I mean, we keep talking about the sunset years for Max Park, and I think this past weekend at this competition in Seoul is really starting to put the pieces together for me. I mean, I just cannot stop talking about this guy because I think he is probably one of the most underrated cubers in the modern era. Yeah, sure, he's getting really surpassed in terms of 3x3, but it's this big cube stuff where he's still performing at his best. I mean, he even called himself out at some point, but then recently this past weekend got this amazing 7x7 mean. And when I start talking about 7x7, that it's starting to matter a lot. I think, in terms of will Max remain the king, I think he's still the favorite for Worlds 2027, at least in 6x6 and 7x7. 4x4 and 5x5 have kind of gone to the Europeans to some extent. I mean, Max didn't even make it onto the 4x4 podium this year,
right?
Or last year at the World Championship, that is. So Max Park versus the world, certainly, but I think Asia is actually pretty underrated. I mean, there's so many Asian cubers, I think, who are kind of in the mix here, especially for the 6x6 and 7x7 events. So I think you'll want to keep an eye out for, everyone coming out of Asia, including that man, Seunghook Nam.
I don't think he's got it. And this is not to say that I think someone will have the crown by the end of the year. I think this is just, we're looking at an era now where the game is really that close with these bigger cubes. I mean, again, Nam and Timon. Manu, I really appreciate you highlighting. We don't talk about Nam as much as we should, and I don't think that we've talked about him enough, for a while now. And I think he's really kind of, everyone's starting to wake up and realize, this guy's one of the greats. And he's up there now, with Max and with Timon, and you just have this loaded field where, personally, I think there's too much parity for there really to be a king. Now, I know this is kind of a cop-out, but I don't think it's a guarantee, and I don't think it's a surefire thing that Max is going to, be dominant in competitions like he used to be. Do I think he could still win? Probably, especially at 6 and 7. But I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I was really hoping you didn't do that. But it's sorry. I lost focus of my take. I completely lost focus of my take because I saw 6-7.
Yeah, to build
Someone
up
say,
what you're saying, I mean, in this event, it's a mean of 3, and it's a high variance event. It's the longest, two of the longest events that we have, cited events that we have, and one pop, it could ruin your entire mean, and then boom, you can't be a world champion anymore. So and that in itself makes it incredibly competitive. And man, I'm almost starting to think like, is a mean of 3 way too small? Is it kind of perfect for world championships like this? I mean, in the past, like we haven't really thought about it too much because it was just like, well, Max is going to get first, and then like we'll see who gets second or third. But now that you get to think about a really competitive crowd, it's fun to think about these things. And one other thing I want to point out is Sunghook Nam self-proclaimed that he is back. If you look on his Instagram, so I think that means a lot that he has that confidence and that swagger.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is like one of the reasons why I really like following Nam, is just because he has that like you can call it an aura if you want. I mean, in the old days we would say that this is how he carries himself, right? He's a professional. He like performs very, very well when it comes to big stages. I mean, he was finalist at the World Championship in 3x3, and 3x3 isn't even his main anymore. Obviously, there's a backstory with like military service and everything like that. One of the reasons I really love Nam is just look at his 7x7 turning here. It's amazingly fluid. I mean, like, yeah, okay. Of course, as soon as I say that he locks up a little bit. But I mean, I think there's like a ton of makings for Nam to be really, really, really good in these types of events. And yeah, I mean, Nam is just amazing. I still do think Max is the favorite. So don't get me wrong here. I think Max is still like a good bit ahead. Like, for example, 6x6 single, he's the only one to ever have a sub 1 single. And he has like, I think 3 or 4 of them, with the world record being 57. Nam and Timon got very, very, very close to that sub 1 barrier this weekend. And also, by the way, I didn't even mention the Europeans that are in the mix. Timofey, Seb, even Kieran to some extent, I think, is also in there as well. So it'll be very, very, very exciting. I'm also getting more and more interested in big cubes because I'm actually getting pretty close to beating a certain member of this podcast in my 6x6 meet. So stay tuned.
Going down, Rosman.
Funny. I don't even know if I've held a 6x6. Did we have any in Seattle when we did Worlds? Did we have any of that?
There's probably a few in the room, I would assume.
Probably.
Yeah. They were in the room while I was like asleep on my sofa bed. Anyway, I think I just want to introduce the next topic. I wish we could talk about this for like 20 minutes. Marnik, can you just pull up Yi Shen's results page? Do we have the results page as an image here? Okay. I want you to look at this. This is a 6-year-old kid. Dylan, we heard about, at least I first heard about this on the Millisecond. Go watch that, obviously. About Chris and Dylan basically talking about this little 6-year-old kid from China who apparently knows full ZB and has, was it, a 546 average at his first comp. So this poses an interesting question. John, we'll start with you. What does this little kid need to do to be the greatest cuber ever? What does he got to do?
What more can he do, right? I mean, I am going to say reach adolescence. We used to have fully functional adults as
oh my
our
God.
world record holders.
Sorry.
But then all of a sudden we started saying, oh, we have kids here because, we had like an 11-year-old that was the champion. But like, this is an actual kid. Like he has not reached adolescence. He's a for real child. So April 2025, we got to see a 6'3" full step Y perm from him. And then let's say 9 months later, January 2026, he's getting a 3.09 single. So he's got nothing but time. So if he can improve that much in 9 months, he's 6 years old. He's got 5 more years or double his lifespan. And then he's Yihang's years old. I mean, it's just like, it's absolutely unreal. Like my brain doesn't want to believe that this exists, but the new meta is you need to be, I guess, 4 and start learning at that point if you want to know full ZB and be this good at 6. I don't know at this point, guys.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that he can do, I think like the only thing he needs to do rather is just keep with it. I think like, you know, the ridiculous progression. Like, who knows full ZB at 6 years old? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I think like he's set up to follow a very similar trajectory to Yihong and Chuanyi, except he's starting like even further ahead than they were, right? Like, you see that he could have been someone who had never gotten a worse average like than 6, other than that 605 that he, or 608, whatever that says, at the bottom of your screen. He already has a sub 5 single in competition. At his very first competition, he got 5th place at Beijing Winter, which I think Beijing Winter is also the competition where Xuanyue broke the world record, right? So it just doesn't really make any sense. But in any case, good fundamentals, keep practicing. I mean, 2 years time, who knows? Like, anything can happen from here, and he has set himself up extremely well.
I'll get to my like points in a second. I'm going to take a little bit of time. The reason I was laughing is because I didn't see the 3 second. I did not see that. So that was a live reaction of me. Play this video again. You can't like, you've got to be kidding me. Dude, you have to be joking. 309. What is that single? What is it? Or that's non-competition. Sorry, but like,
it would be WR3.
Like,
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I agree.
Like, dude, I don't even know if I should say anything for my take. I'm like, look at me. Look at how I am. Look at how crazy I look right now. Like, the only thing I could say is like, eat your vegetables, get enough protein, count your macros, like, get some vitamins in, do well in school, be good. Like we can't. This is something that I wanted to mention, that I kind of mentioned offhand in our Discord. We might need like an age floor in cubing, like, not just for the purpose of like image, but also just for the purpose of like like we can't just encourage these like literal children to go hardcore into cubing when they're already trying to learn like how to do like timetables and stuff. Like we're,
I think a better way to put that is like, we are all cooked. Like, all of us are cooked, and I still think that people would watch. Like, I don't think that the average person understands that a 3-second solve or a sub 4 average is much more impressive than, let's say, a sub 7 average, if they're just presented with, hey, here are 2 cubers that are about the same speed. So I think that these guys are so cracked that we might need to give us slower people purpose. And real quick, something I didn't mention. Again, he is 6 years old, so his brain is lacking the procedural memory, the working memory, the executive function, the visual spatial skills that don't develop until you're 9 years old and reach adolescence. Get a brain doctor on here to explain what those mean, but like this, we see our new world champion. It's just a matter of, will it be 2027, will it be 2029?
I mean, it depends, right? Like, there's a completely a world where, he decides, his parents decide, like, hey, this is not it. Like, we want to invest in something else, and that's perfectly fine. You can totally do that too. I mean, but it seems like if the aptitude is there, the willingness is there. I think willingness is a really important factor, right? He's also like a kid, right? So like, I'm sure like, at first it's like, oh, this is like fun toy. But then when you start to get into like practice and drilling sessions, maybe it becomes less and less fun. I will say though, he definitely seems to have like a really, really good grasp on how to like memorize and drill things, whether that's natural aptitude or just the environment that he's been in. This guy is going to be really, really good at like taking tests in school. So he has that going for him. I mean, bro could like do whatever he wants at this point.
Dude, I'm just saying, the fact that we actually just had to consider, that I just considered for a second, that could be the 2027 world champion. Like Yi Shen could be. I mean, do we have his age verified? Are we sure this isn't like, like we're sure that he's going to be 6 and then he's going to be 7 this year? So he's what, like a couple years younger than Xuanyue? I don't even know, man. I don't.
Congrats to Yi Shen. I mean, like, yeah, newcomer world record is.
Congrats to whatever methods they got going on there.
Yeah, I mean, because I think the previous newcomer world record was Chishian, I think, or no, it was Shoni. It was Shoni. Actually, I think had previous. So he just dethroned Shoni, which is like, obviously a huge achievement.
Hey there, I'm Michael Rosencrantz. Shout out to Pre-Fire for supporting the channel with 20% off. Look, if you've ever dealt with cold hands mid-solve, you know how frustrating that can be. Pre-Fire hand warmers, they're game changers. Why? They activate instantly, they last for hours, and they are built for focus, not bulky winter gear. Chances are you might have seen athletes like Dylan Miller, Eli Parker, and Kevin Hayes use them at US Nationals 2025. That's because they are quickly becoming the go-to hand warmer for speed cubing and esports. Pre-Fire hand warmers, eco-friendly, made with natural materials, and they're way more reliable than those rechargeable warmers that die halfway through a session. They're clean, they're simple, and designed for performance. Use the code SpeedCubingTV to get 20% off your order and keep your hands warm so your solves stay fast. Pre-Fire, made to lock in.
And anyway, we gotta. If we keep talking about this, I feel like I'm going to go insane. So we're gonna move on. Things are heating up here in the pre-fire hot minute. I know a lot of people have been like looking up on like CF and stuff about it, but just very briefly about the whole Keon Wilson situation. Um, John, I want to start with you. Do you think that Keon Wilson should have gotten an extra? And just to provide a little bit of context, Keon Wilson, one of the best pyramid solvers in the U.S. at a comp. There's a commotion during one of his solves. He asked for an extra, and the delegate elected not to give him an extra solve. As you see there, he gets like a second or something into the solve and then requests the extra and then doesn't get it. John, let's start with you. Very simple. Yes or no. Should Keon have gotten the extra?
Probably. I mean, this is a lose-lose-lose. I mean, it sucks for Keon because they got fourth. They very likely could have won or at least podium in this event, if not for this DNF. It sucks for the delegates who are just caught in the middle of all this and have to be in the middle of attention. And it's a lose for us who like have to, no offense to Keon, but like this shouldn't be newsworthy. Like, this extra attempt. So it exposes maybe a weak spot in the regulations, but he probably should have gotten the extra.
Interesting. My take is we don't know because we weren't there, right? There's a lot of internet discourse going on, like people who are like making this clearly should have been extra, shouldn't be the extra. Look at this evidence. It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, the delegates were there and they made a decision. And it's like there's nothing is really wrong here, right? Maybe you could say that the decision was like incorrect, but at that point it's a subjective thing anyway. So I'm on the side of, yeah, we don't know.
No disrespect to Keon, I'm with the delegates here. I got 2 words: lock in. We've seen plenty of times in competition where noises, commotion over results happening. That's just a part of the competition. If the rules get maybe I'd support a rule change where we'd try and keep a little bit quieter, sort of like tennis or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. To me, this just is like you got to lock in, and if you want to be the best at what you do, you got to overcome obstacles and adversity like that. But obviously, Keon's going to lock back into it. Next comp he's probably going to be goated. So
yeah. So there are 2 things I want to mention. One of them is Keon is definitely going to learn from this, and I think that's amazing, right? Like that's like the type of I think growth that at least I would want to see. It's like, hey, you got something that didn't go your way, and so like how can we make sure that this is not going to be a problem in the future, whether that's like wearing earmuffs or otherwise just stealing yourself. And secondly, there is a bunch of bad discourse out there that's like getting very like personal ad hominem stuff. If you're one of those people, you should cut that out. That is not professional, and I don't care whether you agree or disagree. You can't be attacking individual people. That's not cool. Yeah, the whole thing is like a little too. It's getting a little heated, and I think the procedures were largely followed. I think the decision was not one that the competitors agreed with, but that's kind of the job, right? When you're a delegate, sometimes you make a decision that sometimes like the competitor does not agree with, and there are ways to deal with this, right? Like you can appeal to WRC, you can then take, if that appeal doesn't work out, you can send that to the appeals as well. But the wrong way to go about it is to like just get all inflamed and angry and then like make like a really, really, really big fuss over everything, which I don't think Keon is doing. I think it's like a lot of other commenters that are doing that. So I would advise everyone to stay away from that angle, and let's try and like think about, okay, how can we improve the situation overall from all sides?
Or better yet, go practice. Stop complaining, stop whining like little
But
babies,
that's one of
and go
them.
practice. Yeah.
That's one of them.
Anyway, I think we've just about had it here at at +3 Speedcubing TV Incorporated. Thanks for watching this travesty of a podcast. Be sure to like, comment down below, tell us, give us your take on the Keon situation, as well as should we even try to cube anymore when Yi Shen exists? Should we all just like go start like taking out the trash, just doing blue collar work from now on?
Put the
Yeah,
fries in the bag.
if we're putting the fries in the bag, I think we all need to put the fries in the bag after today. We all got to put the fries in the bag for a little bit, but yeah. Thanks for watching. This is the man with the big head in the middle of the screen signing off, and we'll see you next time.